Tina had always believed that Tony was the epitome of simplicity, a quiet, unassuming young man who wore his innocence like a shield. His soft-spoken nature and disarming smile had drawn her in like a moth to a flame. They had been dating for a little over a year, and she often teased him about how plain he was. They met in campus and fell in love at first sight. "Tony, you're so simple, it's almost boring," she would say, laughing. He would just shrug with a playful smile, as if her words were the greatest compliment. For Tony's 26th birthday, Tina decided to surprise him. She knew he preferred his peace, but she wanted to do something special. Armed with a small cake and a gift, she headed to his house without informing him. When she arrived, the door was slightly open, which was odd to her because Tony was serious about locking up. As Tina stepped inside, her heart pounding with excitement, muffled voice reached her ears. She followed the sound cautiously and stopped at the living room doorway, peeking in. What she saw froze her in place. Tony sat at the center of a group of men, a gun resting casually in his hand as he spoke in a low, authoritative tone. The boyish charm she knew was gone, replaced by a steely intensity. "We'll handle him tonight, no loose ends," Tony said. The room fell silent when someone noticed her standing there. Tony turned sharply, his eyes widening as their gaze met. Tina's supposed surprise gift to Tony fell to the ground. Her legs gave out beneath her and the world around her faded to black. When she woke up, the room was dimly lit, the walls bare and unfamiliar. Her wrists were free, but her phone was gone. Tony stood at the foot of the bed and wore a sad smile on his face. "Tina," he said softly, "you shouldn't have come." She sat up, her chest heaving as panic set in. "Who are you, Tony? What was all that?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't want you to find out this way. I wanted to protect you from this part of my life. But now you know." "You are a killer," she whispered, her voice trembling. He stepped closer, his expression darkening. "I lead a group that does what needs to be done. It's not as simple as you think. I didn't choose this life, it chose me." Tears streamed down Tina's face. "I can't do this. I can't be with you anymore," she said. Tony's face hardened. "You think you can just leave? Do you know what would happen to me if you talked? What would happen to you?" "I won't say anything, I swear," Tina pleaded. He laughed bitterly. "I can't take that risk." Pulling out his phone, he showed her a video. Her blood ran cold as she saw herself vulnerable and exposed. "If you leave," Tony said, his voice ice cold, "this video goes public. Your family won't survive the shame." She stared at him in disbelief. "You're a monster, Tony." Tony shrugged. "Maybe, but I love you, Tina. I'll give you anything you want. Just stay. You're safer here." Tina's mind raced as Tony left the room. She didn't touch the food he brought back. Instead, she sat on the edge of the bed, tears soaking her face, as she tried to figure out a way out of this nightmare. Days turned into weeks, and Tina's hope dwindled. But she refused to give up. She started observing every detail, the guards, the way the house operated, and the sparse moments Tony had left her alone. One evening, she pretended to faint during one of her arguments with Tony. As he bent down to help her, she struck him over the head with a heavy object she had hidden under the bed. Tony crumpled to the floor, unconscious. Tina wasted no time. She grabbed the key from his pocket, bolted out of the room and ran as fast as her legs could carry her. The forest was dense. The guards chased her. The night air was cold, but adrenaline fueled her escape. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew she couldn't stop. The sound of distant voices behind her made her push harder. Finally, after what felt like hours, she stumbled upon a road. A kind driver stopped and helped her, taking her to the nearest police station. The guards watched from a distance but could not reveal themselves. At the police station, Tina explained her experience to the police officer, and her family members were called in. because they had filed a report on her being missing. Tony was eventually arrested, his operation dismantled by the authorities. The video he had threatened her with never surfaced, though the memory of it haunted her. Tina rebuilt her life, though scars remained. She had learned a painful truth. Even the quietest shadows could hide the darkest secrets. Hope you enjoyed this story. See you in my next story.